Okay, so hello. Today's topic will be K-pop Demon Hunters. I think that this movie needs no introduction. Probably everybody has heard about it, and it has made a storm. It has taken over media charts, it has taken the music scene, it has taken over everything, and it's everywhere. You can't escape it, and it's for a good reason. The movie is very good. But does it really deserve all that hype? Is it actually as good as people say it is, or is it just mediocre? The only way to find out is to talk about it. So, let's talk about it. But before I get into that, I have to say that this video will have major spoilers for the movie. So, I would advise you to watch the movie before watching the video and then come back to it and watch it. So yeah, let's get into it. Even though everybody has heard of the movie, I will still give a short introduction. So, Kpop Demon Hunters is a movie made by Sony Animation. It was put on Netflix on June for it to be streamed, but it actually had such high streaming numbers that eventually it got to theaters on the 23rd of August 2025. And frankly, this shocked everyone. I mean, the movie's name is Kpop Demon Hunters. It's so unserious, it's so weird. Most people wanted to watch it just to make fun of it. But after watching it, they were left speechless. They became fans of this new franchise, which has just bloomed out of Sony's basement practically. At the beginning, the movie was considered just a passion project, which is why it was only launched on Netflix, because they didn't think that the movie would do good in theaters. But here it is. It has reached a lot of heights, a lot of rewards, and honestly, some of those are deserved. Some, I'm not so sure, but I'll get into that right now. So let's first start with the plot of Kpop Demon Hunters. So, we need to take into accountability that Kpop Demon Hunters is a kids movie. So the plot is rather simple, I would say. It follows a very normal formula for writing. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it's fun enough for you to follow. At the beginning of the movie, we're introduced to the world of Kpop Demon Hunters and its lore. Practically, people had been attacked by demons for a long time now, and three brave women used their skills and powers of music to unite people, and in one way, making their souls pure and happy. And this, for some reason, creates this whole shield around the world. It's called the Honmun, and it kind of shields all the people from the demons, and the demons are practically banished to the demon world, where their lord, called Gima or Guima, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, sorry if I'm butchering the name, but yeah, so he makes plans for the demons to go to the world again so that they can harvest souls, so that he becomes powerful enough to escape the demon world and go back to the human world. But of course, to stop this, those three women were the first hunters. After them, there will be new hunters, and after them, new hunters. So practically with every new generation, there are new hunters that come along to save the world. And right now, we're in the modern day, where the hunters at the moment are called Kpop Demon Hunters, and they consist of a group of three girls. The leader is Rumi. She's kind of the main vocalist of the group. We have Mira, the main dancer and also the choreographer of the group. And then we have the rapper and the lyricist or writer of the songs, who is Zoe. And together they make a great trio, a great girl group, which is famous worldwide, which is why a lot of people like them. And that's how the movie actually starts. We are introduced to these characters on their private jet while they're going to their concert. It actually ends up that the jet is hijacked by demons, because what I didn't mention is that demons have the power to transform their looks so they can look human. But the Huntrix, which is what the girl group is called, quickly realize this, and they get rid of the demons and they go to their show and they deliver Amazing performance. After that, we actually hear that the group is going to go on a hiatus because they have been working their butts off and they want to relax. But while they were performing on the concert, they actually saw that the Hunmoon started glowing gold. And so that actually means that if the Hunmoon starts glowing gold, and that's its new color, its new main color, because by now it's only white. If it turns gold, demons can't pass and come to the human world. So of course this is a big deal. But Mira and Zoe don't really care that much about it. They do, of course, but they don't pay a lot of attention to it. While Rumi, the leader, she has something in store. And it's a new song called Golden, which of course makes a lot of sense because they're trying to make the Hunmoon gold. And so she releases it way earlier and without telling her friends. And so they're all shocked, but it's okay because Golden is streamed almost immediately. It's like the best song in the world and everybody just loves it. And so I don't know if any of you have followed K-pop, but they do a lot of these live performances, quote unquote, because they're just filmed while performing live, but they're not performing in front of a crowd. And so that's what the Huntrix did for Golden, because they were trying to promote the song, of course. And while Rumi was singing, her voice cracked. And at this point, we're not sure what's happening, you know. We feel like, oh yeah, this is normal. Of course, people's voices crack, and that's totally fine. It's okay. Like, she can just rest and it'll be better. And then she goes to her room, like to her changing room. We see that she has a room separate from Mira and Zoe, and we see her unveil her patterns. Because, yeah, I didn't actually mention this, but demons have patterns. That's how Huntrix knew that the demons were actually demons, because even if they try to look like humans, you can see that they have patterns, and that's how you can differentiate a human from a demon. And so at this point you're like, oh, wait, isn't she like the leader, like the main character? How does she have patterns? Is she a demon or stuff? And this is a great point at the movie. I think that at this mark you actually start getting very interested into the plot and what happens next. So yeah, Rumi of course hides this from Zoe and Mira because she doesn't want them to be shocked at the fact that she is a demon, and of course she doesn't know how they will react because they have been hunting demons for their whole life. They have been training for that, and she's of course scared of their reaction and what might happen if they know the truth. So she just decides to hide it and do nothing about it. And the next day, Zoe has found a place where they can go, a doctor they can visit, so that he could help Rumi with her voice. He gives her this grape juice, which has a label on it that it's like a voice helper thing. I don't know, but of course he just like totally scams them. But never mind. They walk out of this doctor's place, and there are these 5 boys outside who the girls perceive as very hot, but one of them bumps into Rumi and she falls to the ground, and he just has a smug comment, and of course they're very mad. They're like, oh, who are these guys? Who do they think that they are? And like stuff. And then they go to this open square and they see that these boys actually stole one of the juices for her voice. And so of course they're still mad at them, but then they realize that these boys start singing and that they're actually a K-pop boy group. And everybody's shocked at this moment. You're like, well, what's going on? But then they actually see that the boys have patterns, so they're demons. Everybody's just shocked. They don't know what to do. They have to go after them, of course, to kill them, because these demons are trying to take the fans away from Huntrix. And why this is so important is because, as I said, so the Hunmoon exists because music brings people together. But if demons take away the fans from Huntrix, the Hunmoon collapses because the demons can't make a Hunmoon. Of course, it's going to be against them if they do that. So when people become their fans, the Hunmoon actually breaks. And so the girls go home because they didn't have the opportunity to do anything about them because they were in public. So they try to orchestrate this attack on them while they're on a show. But this kind of fails as the Saja boys use this opportunity to make fun of the Huntrix, embarrass them in front of the crowd. Nevertheless, the Huntrix go after the Saja boys as they run off the stage. And so they enter a bathhouse. Here we have a short fight scene, and at the end of it, Jinu, who is the leader of the Saja boys, finds out that Rumi has patterns, but he hides that from her team. After this incident, Rumi and Jinu actually meet up, and they talk about their patterns and how it's like being a demon. Rumi kinda has new understandings now, but she still isn't fond of the Saja boys. And they slowly start taking over the music scene, which is very bad for Huntrix, who at this point have started to write their own song as a diss track to the Saja boys. And while in the middle of all of this, we also see them actually going to meet and greet, where we have a lot of shenanigans going on. We also have second encounter between Rumi and Jinu, which starts off being a bit more romantic than usual. And finally, we get to the point of the movie where takedown plays, and we have this train scene. The members are fighting with each other because there has been a slight divide in the Huntrix members. Rumi has her final meeting with Jinu, and they sing the song Free, where they actually learn that it's okay to be a demon and that everything will be okay if they just work each other. And so they decide that during the Idol Awards, Jinu will purposefully let the Huntrix win. This gives Rumi the needed confidence to come back as a good leader to the team. But things don't turn out as expected. Huntrix performed Golden at the Idol Awards, and Rumi has her perfect moment to shine. However, as she finishes the song, Takedown starts playing and she's confused as Mira and Zoe come up next to her, but it turns out that they're not the real Mira and Zoe. They're demons in disguise. There is nothing that she could do, so she has to play along with the song, as the public might know that something is off, and that's how the demons start tearing Rumi's jacket off as they show her patterns. Not to mention that they start pushing her around, and so the crowd thinks that this is actually the disbandment of the group. Rumi goes backstage and she's confronted by the real Mira and Zoe, and so they're of course mad at her and they just want her to leave. And so she does, and she goes to meet Jinu. He explains how he is actually a monster and he left his mother and sister just because he wanted to be more fortunate in life, which is how he actually became a demon. Of course, Rumi still thinks that there is good in him, but he doesn't believe the same. She is left alone and broken, and so she goes to Celine. Now, I haven't mentioned Celine so far, but she's actually the mentor of the Huntrix. She's actually a part of the group before the Huntrix, who were in charge of the Honmun, which is why she was their mentor. And as we learned, she actually worked aside Rumi's mom, who was also a member of these demon hunters, but sadly had passed away. And so Rumi goes to visit Celine so that she could talk about her patterns, but Celine isn't really there to support her. Celine always encouraged her to hide her patterns because she is ashamed of Rumi and her existence, since Rumi's mom hooked up with a demon so that they could make Rumi. And so Celine, who has taught her whole life to kill demons, doesn't really like her, but she has to take care of her because she made an oath to her friend. And so yeah, that's kind of bad because she is supposed to be her mother figure at this moment, but she doesn't really help her in any way. She just makes Rumi feel even worse. She tries to help her by saying that she will make up a lie to her friends to save the situation, but of course Rumi's beyond the lies. She doesn't really care about that anymore, so she says that she's going to do something radical, and we're not sure at the moment what's actually going to happen. Meanwhile, the Saja boys kind of took over the whole world, and so everybody has been hypnotized and they're kind of going to this stadium where there will be a concert performed by the Saja boys. And this is because the Honmun has been so hurt that now Guima can actually come into the human world and they're going to feed him all the human souls. But as they're singing The Idol, who is a song that a lot of people know, Rumi shows up and she starts singing her song, aka What It Sounds Like. Now this song is actually the last song in the whole movie, and it's the climax of the movie, aka the finale. She's able to free her friends from the hypnosis, and they fight together to defeat Guima. But In the process, Jinwoo dies because he risks his life for Rumi, and he gives his soul to her sword, which gives her the power boost to be able to defeat Guima, and after that, all the other demons just disappear, and the Honmun, instead of being gold, is now reformed as the Rainbow Honmun. All is saved, and in the last moments, there's teased to be a comeback, or in other words, a new movie coming up soon. So that's all about the plot. As I said, pretty simple and straightforward, and I think that that's enough to be a refresher so that we can get into the more interesting topics in this video. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the characters. When it comes to character design, the base look of the characters in Kpop Demon Hunters is rather simple, which makes it easier for each character to be distinguished from one another. And even though the designs are simple, they still have a fair share of details. However, I still don't have much praise for the designs. They're not bad by any means, but they don't leave a lasting impact, at least to me. However, that's very different when it comes to their personalities, so let's get into that. And let's start from Rumi, the leader. As aforementioned, Rumi is the leader of Huntrix, so she's supposed to be the strong, confident figure, and yet she is kind of the opposite. Yes, while she's on stage, she's always ready to slay, but behind that curtain, she is a mess of a person. She has so much self-doubt and even self-hate for the fact that she's half demon. Of course, all of these factors make her have a fragile ego, which is why she isn't even fit to lead. She is the reason why Huntrix fails as a girl group. But this is in no way, shape, or form me critiquing her character. These flaws are actually the reason why she is such a good character. She is the leader, but she can't lead because of her problems, and she can't talk to her friends about her problems, so what is there to do but hide? And her connection with Jinwoo makes a lot of sense, as it's a great thing that she has found somebody outside of the group, a person who can relate to her but also help her without being involved in Huntrix. And while yeah, her bandmates should know her state, they should know what she's going through, I think that it makes a lot of sense for her to connect with somebody like Jinwoo so fast. Because of these characteristics, her character is actually very interesting and a lot of people are interested to follow her story. Not to mention that because of her dimension as a character, her relationships with the other characters in the movie are the most interesting out of all. I already mentioned Jinwoo and how their relationship makes a lot of sense actually. There are two people who do have different problems but similar enough to where they can relate. This gives them a sort of comfort like no other, so they can talk to each other about their past and problems. While Jinwoo did lie to Rumi at first, he was kinda telling the half-truth. Some people might think that he was lying because he was trying to do it for Guima, but I think he was just lying because he was embarrassed of himself and the person he is. This is a trait that both Rumi and Jinwoo have, which is another reason why their characters fit so well. And this would be a great time to talk about Jinwoo's character. Jinwoo is of course the leader of the Saja boys. He is basically Rumi's gender-bent version, being the leader of a boy group. However, their characters aren't one-to-one. They have many similarities, but they're not the same character, not even close. At first, Jinwoo is very full of himself. He's actually very confident and self-centered. As the story progresses, we see that Rumi is the one who is able to make him change and see the world in a different light. But Rumi isn't the only person who helps with this. It's also the little kid, while they were in the signing convention, that gives him a drawing that said that he has a beautiful soul. Now, why did Jinwoo like this so much? Well, it's because he doesn't believe it. He believes that that is farthest from the truth. He sees that his soul is corrupt and that it would always stay that way, but that's not the truth. I think that Rumi might have had the same character arc if she was given a drawing that said, it's okay to be a demon, or it's okay to be different, you can be your own self. So what I'm trying to say is I guess that these characters blend well with each other and they make a good duo, which is where their chemistry comes from and why it makes a lot of sense for them to be in a romantic relationship, even though it's poorly explored. However, out of all the characters, I have to say that they're the best written, and that's why it makes sense that they are the main characters. Something that can't really be said about Zoe and Mira. So, first I'll talk about Zoe. Zoe is a very bubbly girl. She's super nice and super sweet, but she has this hidden edge. Besides that, she's the idea man of the group. She comes up with most of the lyrics to their songs. This is where we get this sense from her that she's a very creative person and literally gifted. Literary gifted in literature. Okay, let's say it that way. Unfortunately, her character is not developed enough, which is very sad. In the demo for Golden, there was actually a part in the music video where we see that she was actually bullied by the students in the school. While this wouldn't have totally changed her character since it's still a small detail, it would have given some extra interesting information which can help build up her character. They say that her biggest problem is to please people, but they don't play into that enough as well. I still love her character though, I just think that there's so much more potential there. And because of that untapped potential, I think that she's not a main character. She's not relevant enough to be a main character, but she's definitely a perfect side character. One interesting enough so that you will want to hear more from her and learn more about her. Sadly, the same applies to Mira. While I do believe that Mira is slightly more developed than Zoe, she still lacks a lot in the development department. We learn that she's the black sheep of the family, that she's somebody who truly values her friends a lot, but doesn't really show that, or at least tries to hide it. She is an affectionate person, but not in a showy feely way, more in like, oh, yeah. I'm not the type of person to understand her love language, but I see where she's coming from. And it was nice to see her stepping up for the fact that Rumi was a bad leader at the time. It really felt like Mira was trying to keep everyone together and she was truly trying her best. But unlike Zoe, who tries to keep the team with her positive energy, Mira tries to keep the team together by being real, talking about things that hurt, things that are problematic, and she wants to deal with them. She wants people to say what they think. This is why I would say that after Rumi and Jinu's relationship, Mira's and Rumi's relationship is the second most interesting in the movie, then being followed by Celine and Rumi. Even though that relationship is more interesting in practice, it's not developed well in the movie. Celine could have been a way more interesting character, but she's just there. She's the fake mother figure who isn't really supportive and just kind of makes everything worse. That's kind of all I have to say about her. I get that she comes from a place where she was taught to kill demons and now she needs to take care of a demon child. And I get it, but I don't get it because no. She has raised Rumi her whole life and she didn't stop for a second and think, hey, this kid is half demon, but she is still very sweet. I feel that it could have been very easy for her to put that together and just have a way more healthier relationship with her quote-unquote daughter at the moment. But no, nothing happens with that. So yeah, I don't really plan about talking about the other Saja boys, since I feel like all of them kind of lack a personality. And I get why that is. I think that they were only made there to support Jinu in his plan. And this makes a lot of sense, don't get me wrong, but I wish that there were just a bit more to them, because now they're just kind of their names. Abby has abs, Baby acts like a baby, Romance is not very romantic, but I don't know, I don't really like him, sorry guys. And Mystery is kind of mysterious, I guess. I don't know, to be honest, I think that all of them are kind of chopped. I'm not going to get into this because I know a lot of people like them, but I feel like their character designs could have been a lot better, but yeah, I guess they're not made for me, so I'm not going to keep talking about that, I guess. One thing I will mention though is Bobby. Bobby is actually the manager of Huntrix. I haven't mentioned him this whole video, and because he's not very relevant to the plot, but he is a great character. I really like him. I feel like they did a great job with him and they should keep going with that. I also love the cat and the bird thing demon. I think that they were cute and they served their purpose very well as this like animal in movies. I feel like those characters are kind of a hit or miss in most movies, but they did a great job here. And Grima is just a typical villain. I don't really have much to say about him as well. He's just sadistic, and I love the theories about him and how he started existing, I guess, but there's nothing more I can add to that. I feel like we need a new movie or a new installment so that this world can grow and become more developed. even after all of this, the characters aren't bad by any means, because if they were bad, the movie would honestly be unwatchable, but they are good enough to where you want to see their story, you want to hear what's going on. But I don't think they are the main attraction of the movie. I feel like the main attraction of the movie is the music. So let's get into that now. To be honest, finally I got to the soundtrack. This was one of the main reasons why I wanted to talk about Kpop Demon Hunters, which is one of the reasons why I even made this video to begin with. So let's get into the soundtrack. And I have to say that I will only be covering the songs by Huntrix and the Saja Boys, and unfortunately Take Down by Twice. It is the first song in the soundtrack, and the only thing that I will say about that is that no, I'm sorry. The cover is horrendous. I never want to hear it again in my life. It's the worst cover that I've ever heard of the sound Takedown, not the worst cover ever in the world, but still, I don't like it, and it's not because of the Twice members. I don't think that they sing bad. Of course, they're like great singers and stuff, but I just don't think that the song actually suits them, and so that's all I have to say about that, and I'm not getting into that anymore. So let's start with How It's Done. How It's Done is actually the song that introduces us to the characters at first, to their powers, to be more precise, but we actually see their abilities and their strengths. And as an intro song, I have to say this one was very catchy. It really sets you into the world, and I do have to say I think that it's a bit too strong, and I think that it's not well enough made for people who are not into K-pop, because I feel like people who listen to K-pop will instantly click with this song. I think that it's a bit too ambitious for non-K-pop listeners, but I did say that that's a flaw to the song, but it's not a flaw in how it's made. I just think that it could have done more with that, but the movie is also about K-pop, so I don't see that as a big problem. However, the song itself, very good, very catchy, very good vocals, very strong vocals. It has a great rap section, and we can even see all the members perform, and we see just how good their voices are. Of course, props to Rumi aka EJ for singing that high note. That high note is very good. But overall, I'm very happy with How It's Done. I feel like it's just a great intro into this movie, and we truly see just how strong these characters are. We see their vibe, we see that they're here to slay, we see that they're very confident while they're performing, and that they're here to leave an impact, and that's very nice. Not to mention the fact that with every listen, How It's Done just becomes more and more interesting and more fun to listen to, because you get to learn the fast rap, and I feel like that unlocks the whole version of How It's Done when you know all the words to the rap even, and you can truly immerse yourself into the feeling of listening to that song. Next song, unfortunately, is Soda Pop, and I'm saying unfortunately because I hate this song. I despise this song from the bottom of my heart. Is it catchy? It's very catchy. It's extremely catchy, and I'm not going to say anything against that because the song was truly made to be catchy, and it's great at that. I hate the song, but when it's on, even I have to sing to it and do like the little papa move. And wow, okay, I get it, but no, it's so weird, and I don't like it at all. I'm not somebody who listens to boy groups. I genuinely mostly listen to girl groups, so I don't really like the boy group music. I don't even think that has to do anything with it. I just felt that it was kind of weird that the girls get all of these strong songs where they can show just how much they slay and just how cool they are, and then for the boys we just have this like flirty song like Soda Pop, My Little Soda Pop. It's kind of whatever, I guess. The vocals were great, of course. I feel like everybody in this movie knows how to sing properly, and they're doing great in the vocal department. But this song really didn't leave a lasting impression on me. But then we have the song of the year, also known as golden. Now, I feel like it would be an understatement to say that this song isn't perfect. And I don't listen to this song every day, even though it's been streaming, it's been number one for a long time. It was enthroned by Taylor Swift, I know, but let's be for real. Golden is just unbeatable. The song is so well structured, it's so well sung, the lyrics are great, it's so catchy, the melody is perfect, the storytelling in between all of that, perfect, chef's kiss. And the fact that there is the most storytelling, I feel like, in Golden, and yet it doesn't ruin the song. It just amplifies it. Even if you don't know the movie, even if you don't care about the plot, like, that story element kind of helps it have more emotion to it, I feel like. And yeah, of course, it's very catchy. Like, you haven't been alive these past few months if you haven't heard "We're Going Up, 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 It's Our Moment." Like, it's everywhere. And yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It's the main song of Huntrix, and it's the song of them, as they say. It's the song of the people that they are, and it's just truly beautiful. I have nothing but praise for this song, and I have to say that if you've seen the live performance of it, I think that it was on the Kimmel show or on the Jimmy Fallon show. I feel like it was on the Jimmy Fallon show, but regardless, the live version is just wow. Goosebumps. People were writing in the comments, "Now I can sleep," after knowing that we got the live version, and I agree. I completely agree with that comment. So next we're going to Take Down. At first, Takedown was actually my favorite song from the movie. I feel like it was the most interesting one, it was the most cool one, and I really liked the fact that it also has a lot of storytelling in it. And I don't know, I feel like it might have had something to do with the scene that it is, because I feel like the train scene is just such a powerful and well-written scene. But now I just remember that actually no, because we don't get to hear a lot of Takedown in that scene. So I feel like that scene was enough to make me want to hear more of it. And when I heard the whole thing, I was like, wow, this is like actually really good. And I really like it. As with all of the songs, it's very catchy. It's more sharp. I feel like it's more in the style of how it's done. But while how it's done is, I feel, very loud at moments and maybe even obnoxious at times, Takedown is a kind of more composed version of how it's done. And the vocals, of course, are just chef's kiss. Perfect. Now, another song on the list is Your Idol. I'm not sure that I should be talking about the Saja Boys songs because I really don't like them. Even Your Idol, I don't like it. I feel like it's just way too cult-like and way too weird. It makes a lot of sense, by the way. And I'm saying this from my perspective. I don't like it personally. I don't think that it's a bad song by any means. I feel like it's great in the context of the movie. But I don't really like the Saja Boys songs. I feel like they're not my cup of tea. And if you disagree, that's totally okay. I don't plan on judging you if you like the songs. So yeah, I will say that the song has this type of hook. If you listen to it once or twice, you might get into it. I've just been very resentful for some reason, I think, which is why I don't want to delve too much into Soda Pop and Your Idol, because I know that some people really like those songs and I don't want my biased opinion to kind of ruin that for some people. And I feel like if I do talk about them, I won't give them enough justice. So I will say that the songs are great. Like, both Soda Pop and Your Idol are great songs, maybe even as good as Golden, but I just can't talk about them. I don't have the right mindset to talk about them, I guess. So next on the list is Free. At first, I actually didn't really like Free. I feel like it was just an okay song among a lot of these great songs. But as I listen to it more and more, I actually really like it. I didn't really care about this scene at all, even in the movie. I remember watching it for the first time, and I actually didn't sleep through it, but I think that I sat on my phone during the singing of Free. To be honest, still against the other songs, it's not as good. If the other songs are 8 out of 10 and above, this one would definitely be a 7, and it has nothing to do with the vocals or stuff. We're purely judging this song compared to the others in the movie, and the others are just that good, so I don't think that this is even a bad rating by itself. It also has to do a lot with storytelling and stuff, and I feel like if you relate to it, you would like the song a lot, which is why I started liking it, but still, it's okay. It's not bad. And the last song on the movie is What It Sounds Like. I have to be honest, I love this song. The first time that this song came on, I was like, yes, like this is great, this is perfect. I thought that was my favorite song. I thought that was even better than Golden, but it's not. Let's be for real, it's not. But I do feel like it's perfect. It's perfect in the scene, in the finale. It does its job very well. I think that it has a very strong theme. I feel like it's something which people can relate to. It's something that moves the story forward, and it's very good. It's just perfect, I guess. There's like many things here. So I don't think that I did justice talking about these songs. I feel like somebody who knows more about music can delve deeper into these songs, but I wanted to talk purely about the music, like the song itself, not to delve into the moment where they are, because the music videos for the song, aka the moments in the movie when the songs happen, because they're kind of made like their own music videos, they are very good. Like the animation is great and stuff, but I wanted to delve into that, into the art part. So that's next, but I just had to say that the music in this movie is just very hooking. It's so good. It pulls you in so hard and you don't even know it. And I truly think that this is one of the biggest factors, maybe even the biggest factor of why this movie made it so big, because you go into this movie wanting to make fun of it, and then it drops songs like Golden, Take Down, Your Idol, What It Sounds Like, and you're like, I did not expect that, especially not from a kids movie, especially not from a movie called Kpop Demon Hunters. And it's just truly amazing. Everybody who worked on the music, just props to you guys. You did fantastic. So let's get into the art now, and let's talk about the movie from that aspect. So when it comes to the art of this movie, I don't think that it's mind-blowing, but I'm saying that because I'm an Arcane fan. I think that Arcane just blows everything out of the water when it comes to beautiful scenes and stuff. But the movie itself like still looks very good, very polished. The characters' designs are actually very interesting. I'm not talking about the designs themselves, but the way that the faces are designed, because they look so simple and easy to draw, but at the same time they look pretty real, and I don't know how they did that. I'm still shocked by the way this movie is animated, because it's very well animated, but at first it doesn't look like that. I don't know how to say that, because it's like so simple, and you see this and you're like, oh, like this is great, it looks great, but then the animation starts, like you see this character in movements, and you're like, wow, and then the music videos comes and you're like, wow, like even more wow than that, like how it's done, so cool. The animation, perfection, the art, wow. And you get used to the art style, because at first I wasn't used to it. I thought that it was a bit weird, but as I kept watching, I was like, yeah, this kind of makes sense. And for a kid movie, it makes sense. It's not my type of style. I don't really love it, but I feel like it's great. It makes a lot of sense for the story that it's trying to tell. And when I got into art, and as I started talking about character designs, I just wanted to say that I like that a lot of the characters, while they look similar, they're not the same. They don't have the same face syndrome. They don't have the same body syndrome. It's kind of iffy. They're on the line of being that, but they're not. I'm talking about body syndrome because the faces are completely different and they don't look alike, like at all. And everything is very detailed. There are a lot of small details lying around the whole movie, and that's great. I think that it's perfect, it's very interesting, it's cool. And I know that when the Huntrix use their weapons, actually, the Honmun is seen in the slashes of the weapons. Like when you swing a sword, you know, usually artists draw this like wind thing behind them, the wind trail of somebody swinging the sword. But when it comes to Huntrix, and for example Rumi swinging her sword, you actually see the Honmun as this trail is left behind, and that's a very interesting detail. There are a lot of other details like this, as I've seen about the frames per second in which the characters are animated, because I know that the demons are animated in a specific frame per second. I don't really want to get into that. It's not something that I know a lot about. I just have seen a lot of reels and TikToks about it. So if you're more interested, you can definitely search it up. I'm sure that you will find a lot of things about that and about the art in general. So yeah, definitely very pleasantly surprised with that. And I have to say, I don't know if this is a part of music, but it's not a part of music, it's just sound effects. But this movie has a lot of random sound effects, and it's great. I feel like it just makes it so much more appealing to watch, because it's so interesting seeing all of these sound effects just all around the screen. I remember when they were going to kill the Saja boys, and we have Kill Saja. I think that's a reference to Kill Bill. We have the screams in the background like "Caw-caw," and actually, I don't know if you knew this, but Zoe actually says that, and I think that's very cool. Not to mention the fact that there are a lot of references around this whole movie to things either from K-pop, from the cultures, from media in general. There's just a lot of Easter eggs everywhere, and I really do appreciate that a lot. So those are my thoughts for the art. Side note, actually, I forgot to talk about the character expressions. I didn't have a specific place for that in the video, but I wanted to say that the character expressions are actually very fun. We love to see them make goofy expressions and silly ones, and they're very funny, and I feel like it's great that they let the girls have these expressions as well to show that they're humans. It's not just something that the boys can do, that the boys can be goofy and stuff, and I really like that. I have to say that they did great with the faces. So we can finally get into the rating and the review. Okay, when it comes to rating, I would have to say that this movie is a very solid 7 out of 10, or 7.5 at best. And I feel like that is a very fair rating when we put everything into consideration, because while the music and the art are definitely a 10 out of 10, the character progression and the story are unfortunately a bit lacking. Again, this doesn't mean that the movie is bad in any way, shape, or form. I just feel like it could have been better. And I get that it's a kids movie, I get that it has its constraints, but I still feel like a lot more could have been done with the plot. Just make it stand out more a little bit. I do have to give props where props is due, and that is that whoever came up with the idea of Kpop Demon Hunters is just very clever and thinks outside of the box, because I would have never thought that there would be a movie about a K-pop girl group hunting demons, but at the same time there being a K-pop boy group consisting of demons, and I feel like I would have never guessed that the movie was going to go in that way. And all in all, I am very satisfied. I had extremely low expectations for this movie. I just wanted to watch it because it appeared on my reels. I thought that it was funny, I thought that I could make fun of it, but it truly blew me away. It isn't perfect by any means, but it has a lot of aspects which are done very well, and I don't feel like it deserves all of the praise, but not because it's not good. It's just that things have been better. But I feel like when it comes to movies in recent times, Kpop Demon Hunters does stand out a lot, because unlike other movies, this one has had a lot of passion put in it, and unfortunately that hasn't been true for a lot of other movies and even shows. Unfortunately, people seem to be doing a lot of things just for money, and it's kind of sad, because we have to take into consideration that this is art. The music, the writing, the art itself, the animation, it's all art. It's an art form, and you're selling this to somebody. You need to check it. You need to see if it's good enough. And unfortunately, a lot of things fall flat. Not about Kpop Demon Hunters, about other movies. And that's why I think that a lot of people praise this movie. And in that context, I do think that it's very much deserved. And all of the awards which have to do with music are extremely deserved. If there are any awards for the animation, I would also say that they are deserved. But if there was an award for plot, I don't think that it would have gone to Kpop Demon Hunters, as I said, or for character development or stuff like that. But yeah, I would say that that's it for my review. This is the conclusion. Kpop Demon Hunters is a great movie. It really did surprise everyone, and it did good in a lot of aspects, even great. So its fame is deserved, and I do wish to see where this franchise goes in the future. And I'm really hyped to hear that they're working on the second Kpop Demon Hunters movie. I do hope that it has to do something with this cast of characters. I don't want them to move on to other hunters from the future or the past. I just want them to talk more about these characters, because they can do a lot more with them in the future. And I do hope that they do not rush this movie, that they don't make it for money, and that they put the same amount of passion, work, and effort as they did into the first one. Hopefully, they won't never make a live action. I think that would be just absurd. But of course, everything could change in like about 10 years. But we'll see. We'll definitely see where this franchise would go and how people will react to all of that. But for now, all I have to say is that I hope that Kpop Demon Hunters truly does win the Grammy for Song of the Year. I feel like Golden deserves that, and I guess that would be my final statement for the movie. I wish it all the best for everyone, all the actors, all the people who were in the movie, and also EJ, who is a singer, the story I have started following recently. And I love that her career suddenly exploded way more and people discovered her. It's a very nice sight to see when people discover very talented artists, and it's truly a pleasure. So that's it for that video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, it would be great if you like, share, and subscribe. It would mean a lot for my little channel. This is my second video, so if you're interested in things like Arcane or other shows, I would be very grateful if you go and watch it. The next video I plan to be on Tangled, then probably Has Been Hotel, but I'm not sure because I want the season to end first and then to make a video. Either way, that's it for me. Hope you have a great day and see you in the future. Bye!